and it will be an avenue for him to be away. For example, I'm a Liverpool fan. You know that our keeper has this issue of passing ball, and they will use it. He will mistakenly play it to his opponent, and they will use him to score. I think they'll work on it. Now he's getting better. I don't want to use what happened yesterday to judge him. Everyone can make a mistake. But let it not be an avenue that he's not improving. Yes, Adele can start the game. But let us not use it that, Okoye is not good enough. He's good enough. He has been helping. But he really needs help. He really needs help. That is my own way. But coming over to the defense, Kevin Bassey and Obama needs to start. Let us see how that combination can help us. And also this guy playing in Porto needs to play, and Alona needs to play as well. And coming over to the midfield, let us try Onyedike again as a defensive midfielder and see how it's going to work. Because I see him as somebody that can never give up. Even if he had injury, he will use that injury to play. He has that passion to play. He doesn't look whether it's money or not. He want to play game. If we can see how we can combat him, if he can play it, fine. Because his body stature is he's very strong. I can see him as somebody that can play 90 minutes without getting tired. Yes, and our boy, he's back. Alex Iwobi. Oh my goodness. I saw what, in fact, his speed, the way he's playing is, in fact, he's in his epic right now. He is his own climax right now. He can play 10. I can see that and see someone that can support this. If we are playing football, Desert is good. So Awoni is good. So the problem we are facing now is the midfield and the defense. And the goalkeeping department needs something. We need a help to help our goalkeeping. Yes, we need help. At this point in time, Nigeria have not been suffering in the goalkeeping department. I don't know why now. We are now having issue. And the problem is, we refuse to get somebody that can, if Inyama is leaving, who is coming? That was an issue. Because when Kesholomi was leaving, Inyama was coming. Now Inyama is no more. Who's going to replace Inyama?
Inyama is still alive, though.
No, yeah. And even he's training right now. He's even training. Sorry. He's even training, said that he want to come back at the age of 40 years. No problem. Yes.
Thanks for joining us. What do you think?
Absolute pleasure here. Like Brother Radley mentioned. I mean,
sorry. As soon as you started talking, I just remembered you. I remember the last time you joined. I enjoyed what you said. Continue.
So back in here again. So I love the jersey, of course. The Nigerian jersey. I love the kits. Reminded me of the 2018 jersey when it came out. Not like I liked it so much, but I mean, everyone grew to accept it. So I believe we also love this one going forward. For the game yesterday, really, quite unfortunate what happened to Maduka Okoye, the goal he conceded. But I think there are different factors that contributed. Firstly, Maduka has not played so many games this season. He's been on the bench so much for Watford, and you could see that rustiness. There's this thing about the game, and when you're not getting it, it's different when you train and when you're on the pitch, you get into match rhythm. He was clearly lacking that yesterday. So that, and not to forget where he's coming from, what happened at the AFCON. Looks like he's got a deflated confidence, and he's still not over that yet. In as much as closed door game and all of those things, I think he still feels the pressure on his neck. And then once he gets the ball, he's thinking, I wouldn't commit an error. I wouldn't want this ball to, get spoiled in my hands and all of those. But that aside, if I also want to talk about what happened in that situation tactically, I think the defenders should also be blamed. The two centre backs should also be blamed. I just spoke about Maduka's fault in all of those. But it was quite obvious to see that Jose Pizarro wants this team to play with the ball, like play out from the back here. And then if you want to do that, you need to have a keeper who is a sweeper keeper who can confidently hold the ball and pass it out. But then again, if a keeper is to be a successful sweeper keeper, he must have ball playing defenders who are ready to help at all times. It means in a setup where you want to play from the back, a goalkeeper receives the ball. He expects his two centre back to be available to receive, as passing outlets for him. Then you expect the two fullbacks to also create an outlet from which they can play, while also maybe the defensive midfielder or the number 10 can come as a ball carrier from midfield. So he has about 4 options to play out from. His two centre backs, the two fullbacks, and then a ball carrier from midfield. We see this with Thomas Partey. We see this with maybe Odegaard sometimes. We go to Chelsea.
Oh, see, this is my issue with technology. I just realized that people cannot comment. People cannot. Only few people can comment because on my personal Instagram, my setting, I don't allow. I don't allow just, and this is my personal Instagram that is hosting the live. And I usually don't just allow any Tom, Dick, or Harry to just come and be say rubbish. Yes.
So what would you want to do?
Yeah,
some people can comment, but most people cannot. What do we do? I don't want to have to end this thing and restart.
Okay. You don't end the live, yeah.
The best thing to do is just make your personal IP open for at the moment.
No, but the thing is that even I was thinking of that, but even for me to make it open, I would have to end it first.
End, no problem.
Maybe just apologize, end it, get it sorted, and then we'll start again.
I don't want to say why am I occupying 2 spots. If you know the story of how we've gotten to this point.
Don't worry.
Okay, let's see if we can make this work.
Yeah, just go off and come back.
Okay. This will be quick. If it doesn't work on this side, I'll switch very quickly. I just said let me check. Step Monic, see if you can join. If you can't join, I'll switch very quickly. I also wanted to try this again because I have faith for some reason. But let's see. If you guys are not able to go on this side. Somebody's asking how can you send stars on Facebook? It should be so it still doesn't seem like Okay. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's letting you guys. Man, Instagram, this thing is actually frustrating me. For you guys that are wondering what's going on YouTube and Facebook, we're trying to figure out our live stream so that we can allow people to join. Unfortunately, we're having technical difficulty. It's one of those things, with technology. Okay, this should work. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Welcome back. Welcome back. Where's Humble Henry? Everybody should be able to comment this time, and I'm believing that you guys should be able to join as well. Let's see.
Yeah, back in this.
Oh man, there's so many things going on. Okay, so yeah, sorry. You can keep going. You can keep going. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, good to know everyone is back. I hope you guys understand, trying to sort out technical issues before everything, gets live again. So I was pretty much speaking on the Medical Koye situation and how lack of game time has also affected him, not forgetting where he's coming from the AFCON. How how we got eliminated, that goal against Tunisia affected his confidence so much. But looking beyond all of those also, I thought that there was an obvious error in this setup. Yes, the coach has got the boys playing, playing from the back. He had the ball. I know Madikal Koye on a very good day would have sent that ball out immediately. But it looks like one of the things that coach is trying to integrate in the team is how the team can play out from the back successfully, move the ball from behind and build up gradually. And I was already blaming the defenders. Madikal gets the blame, but if you check out the setup while he had the ball, it was so poor. I saw it was Ekong out of position. I think it was Valentinos Owanfo was the second number, the second centre back. Was nowhere to be found. When you are playing out from the back, ordinarily, once the goalkeeper receives the ball, wherever the defenders are, the central defenders, firstly, they'll first open up, around the 18-yard box to receive the ball. As they are opening, the fullbacks are also recovering to take up positions near the touchline to also provide an outlet. There will be a midfielder coming from the middle, either the DM. If the DM is not a very good ball carrier, the number 10 will return and pick and create an outlet for the ball to be played out through him. So you have two centre backs, you have the fullbacks around the touchline, and then you have your number 4 coming in as a ball carrier from the middle. But if you watch that video very well, I had to slow down the video and watch it multiple times. The central defenders were not there. Ekong was even ball watching. Like, it was when it was obvious that Maduka had nowhere to go to. Ekong now tried, to run back and see what he could do, but it was already too late. Once that ball was going towards the goalkeeper, even before he controlled, the fullback should have, the centre back should have taken position so that he could pass. So the first touch, he turned, Maduka raised his head. If he had seen someone, he would have released the ball first. But I really think he did not see anybody else. That was why he wanted to do something, more or less dribble or wait for option, and he was too slow. You know, he's not the best guy in those situations. If it was Manuel Neuer, one of these guys, Ederson, who are experts in these areas, they would have known what to do. So pretty much, maybe again, at the same time, if you have noticed that your options are eliminated, send the ball to the stands. That's why I fault Maduka again. Send the ball to the stands. So just unfortunately he considered that goal. The goalkeeping department has been a problem for us for a number of years now. I mean, you know, you mentioned why we're not having succession in terms of, you know, like we had from Ike Shurumu to Enyama. Enyama left. Maybe Kali came out would have been the guy, but unfortunately, you know, what happened to Carl happened. We're happy he's fine. But from the 8th grades, our goalkeepers have not progressed. It has been the biggest issue, you know, bedeviling that department. Our goalkeepers have not progressed. Now, this thing we're talking about was third choice during the Under-17 World Cup around 2013. There was a certain Dele Alampasu in that team who was first choice. Has Alampasu progressed like would have expected? I mean, by now, he'll probably be taking that position. From that team in 2013, we had Kelechi, we had, I think we had Awuni, we had Isaac Success, we had Zaradim Bello, and, you know, all of these guys, Ali Abubakar, you know, some bit of progress. And, you know, we're having them take up very good positions in the national team. This would also have players who did not go through the ranks, through the youth system, would also rise up at different points in their career. But the goalkeepers have not progressed like we expected. Ezekiel Bassi at one point, you know, during the 2007 Under-20 World Cup, it was Ike Chukwuezenwa, Dami Paul, all of these guys. Where are they today? Nowhere to be found. So, goalkeeper, you know, more or less, coaches are expected now to scan through Europe, see the guys who are available, ask what we can do with them. But I think also got decent goalkeepers around who are not exactly born in Nigeria, but I mean, they are Nigerians and they stand a very good chance of representing the country. Joshua Oluwayemi, you know, Otto Okonkwo, I think we should go for that guy at this point in time, you know. But it's unfortunate we are where we are as a country. I hope we begin to, you know, look inwards. But the truth is, I've heard talks about the NPFL. We'll get good pass on the NPFL. The truth is, there is no, I'm sorry, with all apologies to my players in the NPFL, but I do not think at the level where we want Super Eagles players and goalkeepers to perform at. I'm not sure we've got anyone who can perform at that level as it is. I always tell people that, look, the national team is not where you train players. You only have players who are informed to come and deliver. A coach has less than 3 days to prepare a team for a game, unless maybe like the World Cup, you have 2 weeks, 1 week. But nobody has the time to come say, hey, this is how you trap the ball. This is how you make it safe. Nobody has that time. We are meant to make a team of stars blend, adopt the style, and play a football game. So we do not have that time. I always say, look, if you want to, from the local league, if you want to get into the team, it could not be by quota system. You have to prove that you are good from the league. You have to show, maybe when you go to the continental, let's see you, you know, make a mark for yourself, you know, on the continental scene. So when you go for CHAN, if you get ready for CHAN, let's see what you do during the CHAN tournament, CHAN qualifiers. And then I can say, let's look at this guy. He's pretty much good. Let's bring him into the fold. But it is not for me to say, oh, let's give 2 slots to this one. So let's give 2 slots to this one. I hope things get better. I hope the MDFL guys also get a shout out, you know, to get into the team. But then you have to prove you are better than those who are in already, you know.
Good comments. Anything to add from your end, Homeboy?
Yes, what he said, like there's something that Slim West said concerning Maduka should go and fix himself. He was invited. So it is the responsibility of the nation to help him out. If he does any mistake, that is an opportunity to say, oh, what is good? That is why we have psychologists in the team to help him out. Okay, what is going on? Look at how to do things. And he himself is supposed to be too smart. He's supposed to be very smart. That you know that your defenders are not good enough. Let me use that. As soon as you get the next option is just throwing. What are you waiting for? Because I went and watched the highlights. He himself contributed. The defenders also contributed. But this is not an avenue for us to say, oh, it's not good enough. For me, that is one point of view. Yes, he needs help. Nobody will say, excuses, remove him, don't bring him. really need help. That's my own contribution so far.
All right, all right. Okay, let's move on to let's talk about the defenders because people have been beating on this Maduka Okoye issue for some time now. Let's talk about the defenders. We have Omero, we have Ozonwafo, we have Calvin Bassi, we have Kevin Akpoguma. Most people are saying that Akpoguma and Bassi should start. Does anybody have anything different in mind? Do you think Kenneth Omero, who's been in the team for a long time, deserves a place in the squad? What are your feelings around that?
Now, okay, let me start with this. Instagram has really helped the NFF to listen to us. If there is no Instagram, they would have not even invited Kevin or Akpoguma. Because you know that these people are very young. And now, Omero should be in his 30s. Yes. And he's not getting. This is the time to get a smooth transition.
Omero is 28.
Which 28? Football. Right. Which 28?
Is 28.
No problem. Let's say 28. And he's playing like this. Ekong 28. And they are playing like this.
You want to say Ekong is fake too.
28 at the age of look at Chelsea and defender. How old? 36. Can you bring Ekong and Silva? Who is the best defender?
Everybody's, I always say I don't think it's a question of age. Everybody's quality is simply different.
At this moment, at the age of 28, he's supposed to be in his best.
No, see, I understand. Based on normal football trajectory, I totally understand what you are saying. Players peak. For me, I just look at it that let's not question people's age. That's unnecessary. I mean, Akpoguma and Bassi are two fantastic defenders. Bassi has been playing well at club level. Akpoguma has also been doing well at club level. It's been the question that has been up in the air for the longest time. Why has Akpoguma not been getting call-ups to the national team? And I'm happy that he's in the squad now. I believe that it'll be interesting to see the both of them because they're the best two. But the question of how well can they play together is something that I just wonder if the coach is going to bring up in his head, because I don't think Bassi and Akpoguma have played together before.
Okay, that is why they call this match friendly match. This is the time to do experiment. This is the time to bring them. I can't have to wait. We have known his way of playing. Let us also test another person, like Kevin and Akpoguma. Let them play. This is friendly. It's not all about qualifying. We can be able to test. Okay, they can play together. Okay, look at Kevin Bassi. Just move to Ayers. They now convert him as a central defender. And he's doing well. The same thing can be applicable to two of them. They can understand each other.
I think, we saw a bit of that in the game yesterday. In the second half, when the game started, it was William Ekong, Ozonwafo, and Chido Zawazim in the first half, alongside it. And it looked like a back five. People played the wing backs, I would say. Ekong, Ozonwafo, and Awazim with the three centre backs, and then we had Olaina and Bejuru as the full backs. In the second half, we saw that switch, and Akpoguma entered alongside Calvin Bassi, and then Kenneth Omero. Maybe we could probably be looking out for a back three. Looks like he wants to work with that system going forward, because last second half also it was Akpoguma, it was Bassi, and then Kenneth Omero who came in, and then Zidu Sanusi also joined in that half. So it could just be like a picture into what the future is. When we had Akpoguma the last time out, was he played as a right back? I'm sure he did not enjoy that under the last coach. Talking about numbers, Akpoguma's best position is to play as a centre back. He's confident. He He's young, he understands the game, he plays in the German league, and he's educated in the German football culture. And you know how meticulous and very technical players who are trained in the German football system are. So I love his rise. I'm happy that he's back in the team again. And a lot of our players have not had game time, honestly. Talk about our defenders, not so much game time for William Troost-Ekong, not so much for Kenneth Omero. Chidozie Awazim had a very good rise in the last 2 years, but I don't know what's happening to Chidozie. I like his style of play all day, every day, but the game times are not coming again for him. Thank God for Calvin Bassey, who is now on the rise, and it looks like he's going to Ajax to become a central defender than a left back when he was at Rangers, even though he played as centre back a couple times, but he has played more as a central defender this season, maybe because Lisandro Martinez left. I was thinking he was going to go to Ajax to replace Nicolas Tagliafico, another Argentine who had left the club, but he's more or less replacing Lisandro Martinez who went to Man United, and he's done really well for himself. Like I said the last time we were here, when I met up with him in the game before Ghana, I was asking Calvin Bassey where he likes to play more. Like, where is your most preferred position? He said he will play anywhere, left back, centre back, wherever the coach wants him to play, he will play. So, I more or less see a lad who's ready to give his 100% wherever he finds himself. And I really think going forward, we should have him play as centre back more for the national team, play alongside Akpoguma, like Humble Henry said, or like you said, until we have someone who can really say, hey, this guy can hold you down in the centre back position. Maybe Jordan Tunurariga, who's out there, maybe if Tosin Adarabioyo chooses to come play for us, fine. But in as much as we take him away from left back, Bassey now, and play him as a centre back, I think Zaidou Sanusi can always hold it down, in that left back position, pending how he performs. If we feel he hasn't done well enough, we could look at other options. But I'm happy for the lads. I'm happy Akpoguma is in the mix again. I want to see how the coach sets up the team on Tuesday again.
Yes, that's what I'm just looking at. I think this friendly match we played yesterday is an avenue for him to see what is going on. And I'm praying, let the NAFF allow Casero to work. Let it give him a free mind, free hand to work. If we allow this coach to work, we're going to get a good result. Honestly. The game we played yesterday, it really opened people's mind. Even as I'm talking to you, you can even tell us, oh, okay, the first 11, look at how it's going to be. Look at how it's going to be. Because you watch the first half, you watch the second half. So the problem we are facing now is the goalkeeping department. That is what we have to work on.
Yeah, the defense. Maybe that explains why we had the team set up in a 3-man defense yesterday, like I said. I looked at the lineup. So it is more or less having more bodies to take up spaces. In as much as we do not have players who can really depend on defensively, centre backs now and the goalkeeper. Maybe he's also aware of these, and that's why we had a 3-man defense, a 3-man centre back line with the wing backs, who makes it a 5-man line when we are defending, and then we can also have a mid block in midfield.
I want to ask. Sorry to cut you off. I want to ask a question about our defense here. Talking about our fullbacks / wing backs. What are the options that we really have? I look at the list of players that we have currently called up. And then we have Zaidou Sanusi, who you think would be the default selection at left back. And Ola, I know who you would assume would slot into the right back position if we're playing, him there. Even though he plays most of his games at left wing back for his club. Who else here would you put as an option for wing back? Calvin Bassey, yes, we know can play left back, but we're assuming that he's already on the field, playing as a centre back, So who would be the options that we have, really coming in as wing backs? And even let's say maybe the player was not called up. Is there any option that you really think, that wasn't part of this selection that would be a quality full-back option or wing-back option for the Super Eagles?
Now, firstly, from the current players we have in camp, I think Chidozie Awazim can do a job as a fullback or a wing back. I'm not sure so sure of a wing back position, but we've seen Chidozie play as a right back before, and it's done well for us. Although his form is disturbing for me, I want more. I want him a bit more settled. His club career has been topsy-turvy, but I really hope things settle for him. Chidozie is a very, very talented guy who can play as a fullback for us going forward. And I would want to see Akpoguma there, even though he's played there a couple of times. I would want to see him there. And let's not forget Simon. Simon can play as a wing back. He did that at Levante. He did not bring the best out of him. But if you look at all the wingers we have, if you want someone who will be an auxiliary, who could help in tracking back out of all our wingers, Simon is the guy. There was one clearance he made yesterday. I mean, the goalkeeper was beating. He just made one mad recovery and cleared that ball. So he has that energy, has that ability to read the game, go up and bump down the pitch at the same time, you know. So, I mean, I want to look at him, you know, in that position. We have this boy who's be at Celtic, Osaze, I can't remember his last name again, used to be at Celtic. Looks a decent fullback also who we could, you know, keep an eye on and his growth and his developments going forward. But I do not think we lack options. It's about the coach making the right calls every now and then. In this current squad, Beduru from Rivers United, not so sure how he performed yesterday. I didn't watch him so well, you know. But he looks to be a fullback option. Before now, it was Faisal Sani who got called up, the Qatar United player, a couple of times, but Faisal got dropped. Ibubeduru is now on board. I really hope that all of these experimentations will lead to something a bit more concrete for us. But with Ola Aina, Zaidu Sanusi looks like the go-to guy. Someone just said the Fenerbahce guy, that's Brian Samuel Osai. That guy at this point honestly deserves a call up. To be honest, he's been consistent for the last 2 years. I think he started at QPR before he moved to Turkey. Honestly, he's had lots of game time, and at this point, Bright Samuel Osai deserves a call up. Let's see what he brings into the fray. We've got good players, yes, but who says the options, you know, don't be good enough for us? You know, you get to the point where you want more competitiveness in your squad. You want to see players fight before they get their position. It shouldn't be someone strolling in and, you know, having his shirt already guaranteed. So Osai would be a very good option for us going forward, honestly.
Yeah. Temitayo is talking about Osaze Uhogide. He moved to Belgium. I forget the name of the team that he plays for right now. Is it SK Beveren or one of those teams in Belgium or Leuven? But let me search it. But I know the player that Temitayo is talking about. Ostend, yes, he's in KV Ostend on loan from Celtic. I've been following him for a while. You know, he's a decent. He's a good defender. I haven't watched too many of his games. I must confess, but I've been following his progress. And I don't know. Does he want to play for Nigeria? That's the question.
A question, yeah. Okay. My thing is this. I know that people will disagree with me. Olisanda. I know that people will because he's playing in South African League.
So Olisanda. You know, Olisanda is a good defender. He's been in the squad before. He's done pretty well for us before.
Yeah.
And I mean, he even played one game at right back, and you could not even tell that he was not a right back. You know, so he's definitely, I think, an option.
I don't know. You know, people will tell you that if you want him to be in Super Eagles, let him leave South African League and find himself in European League. You know.
Can he sing the national anthem? Go on.
Yeah,
this man is not NFF president yet.
But when you look at him, he has played in Nigerian League, and we see how good he has played. And also, he went to South Africa, and he's improving. And he was even called to play in Nation Cup. I think at 10 minutes, but he did well. He held the ball. He have that confidence. But it's also an option for us to call him, and if something happens. Yes.
Yeah, there is Marvin. You know, someone's commented on the guy at Blackpool, Marvin Eketita. That's another option for us. You know, he's still very highly rated. I think he played for the Nationality. Even though he do not play so much, but
does he want to play for Nigeria? That's the question.
That's the question.
For me, that's important thing. And he's a centre back. He's not really a full back option. But I think, Marvin, I think he's been part of the Nigerian U20 setup some time ago, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe he actually wants to play for Nigeria. Okay, let's talk about midfield a little bit. You know, so I asked this question. I don't know why Alassane Yusuf is getting overlooked. You know, is it that he needs PR? Is it that, you know, they're just not watching him enough? Because again, even when people talk about certain players, or maybe even rather Olisanda and say, oh, he's playing in South Africa, sometimes I look at the players that get called up. Let's be honest with ourselves. no disrespect to Zoho, but Zoho plays in Cyprus. Cyprus is, we all know, is not the toughest league in the world. You know, we have players that get caught up from certain leagues all over the world, and then when it comes to other players that maybe are playing well or are deserving, then we have people saying, "Oh, you know, they don't play in a league that's good enough. They don't play in a league that's tough enough." You know, things like that. I mean, if we even go back to the defense, I didn't even mention his name earlier. Ayobile, he's been one of the best Nigerian defenders since last season, going into this season as well. He's playing well in Livingston. Livingston is the same league that is playing in the same Scottish Prem that Balogun, Bassi, Aribo were playing for the whole past 1.5 years that they kept on playing well for Nigeria. You know, certain people will say, he needs to go to a tougher league. But it's like, we've called players from there in the past. We've called players from even lower divisions. I mean, Valentine Ozonwafo just got called up. He's in the team right now. He got called up as a replacement. He plays in the second division in France, and he's not even been playing. You know, you have certain players that are playing well. I would even give a nod to Igor Ogbu. Igor Ogbu is a young player that has played for Nigeria at an U20 level in the past, and he's been doing very well in Norway since he moved to Lillestrøm. I've been following him. I've been watching some of his matches, and he's been doing fantastic. You know, I've even had a couple press people, journalists and co from Norway even reach out to me and say, what do you think of this guy? Is there any chance that he gets caught up to Super Eagles? You know, they're trying to get information and scoop about the guy, because that's how impressed they are about his performances as a young defender. You know, for me, I just looked at, I don't know, again, I don't know why we call certain players and we don't call certain players. Sometimes I understand when you look at players and you say, okay, this guy has been in the Super Eagles before. So if you want to make a squad, it's easy for you to call him. But then I look, if that player that has been in the Super Eagles before is currently not in form, or is, forget, sometimes they say form is not everything. But if the player is playing very badly, or is not even playing at all, and there's another option that you can introduce, and that might ultimately be a better option moving forward. Like I just mentioned, Igor Ogu is a 21, 22-year-old defender. We have Ekong, we have Balogun, who are old, for lack of a better term. You know, and this is an opportunity that you can use to phase in somebody new, give an opportunity and learn into the squad. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I get frustrated thinking about how we scout and how we call certain players, because even for a long time, someone like Xavier Godwin, for a long time, you would have thought that he would get called up. Because, and again, I love Ahmed Musa. I respect everything he has done for Nigeria. But why is he still getting called up? You know, again, we talk about the captaincy, the impact, you know, things like that. But then you wonder, you have certain players that are banging in goals, that are playing fantastic games, you know, and they're just not getting a chance. You know, I was going to talk about this, but he got injured. I said that when I was on Smita's live the other day, I said that I didn't want to say it the other day. But even Henry Onyekuru, it's the same thing. When I saw his name in the list initially, I was like, why? You know, yes, I know that Onyekuru is a good player. I know that Onyekuru is talented. We all have high hopes for him, and I'm not trying to bash him, but he's not been doing anything for the past 2.5, 3 years. Yes, he returned to Turkey. I've been watching his games in Turkey. He's not been playing that well. If we're being honest with ourselves, even the game that he scored on his debut, that game he was playing badly until that goal. You know, and of course, once you score a goal, it changes the perspective that people have on the match entirely. But he's not been that good. I was even saying it the other day that if you wanted to call somebody from Adana Demirspor, there's Babajini Akintola, who has been doing well in Denmark before moving. Is it Denmark that he was before? Somewhere in Scandinavia before moving back to rather before moving to Turkey, and he's even playing well week in, week out for the same team that Onyekuru got called up from. So sometimes I wonder how they do the selections, but I don't work for them. I don't determine anything, and you know, we can only talk and talk and talk, but you know, these questions have to be asked sometimes. I mean, that's why I'm not happy when anybody gets injured. But at the same time, I was like, at least it gives an opportunity for the players that actually deserve a chance to come in and show themselves. And I did think that Alassane Yusuf was going to get caught up as a replacement for somebody. Honestly, I did think so. But unfortunately, you know, he didn't get caught up, and it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, there was a bit of a confirmation from Royal Antwerp that Alassane got called up. I'm pretty much sure he saw, you know, that those news reports. And what happened? Royal Antwerp already celebrating the notification letter that Alassane Yusuf was called to the national team. The list got released and couldn't find him there. I tried to dig into what happened. I understand that initially it was a 30-man provisional list before it was now cut down, and then it took out the name of Alassane Yusuf. I'm like, why? That guy has played he has started every single game for Real Antwerp this season. I think he's played about 9 games or thereabouts. He's been consistent for one of the best teams in the Belgian league this season. Not just this season, he's been consistent for the last 3 years. Alassane Yusuf has been on our faces from IK Gothenburg. His rise is very much traceable. And you see that he has something that we need in the midfield. Whenever he gets us injured, we are more or less left paperweight in midfield. We are trying out Etebo today. We are trying out this guy tomorrow. We look to be confused when we have the right players who fit the right profile for what we want to do. So it is so much gobsmacking that Alassane is still being left out in the cold right up until now. That guy, yeah, he can give a fight to even Frank Onyeka, who in quote plays in a bigger league. But if you put that aside and see the quality the guy drops on the pitch, you see how much of industry he brings in midfield. If you check out his ball distribution, if you check out his passing accuracy, how he's tidy with the ball, it tells you that this is the kind of guy you want to have around, to complement Ndidi and, bring that extra industry in midfield. But unfortunately, it doesn't get a look in as it should. I'm happy that, Nwadike is in now. Raphael is in now. He also took a bit of shout. People were shouting, why is this guy not here? Right from Michelin, he's been doing well for himself until he got to Club Brugge. And then looks like we've
lost.
Oh, yeah.
No, but yeah, Onyedika as well. Same thing. Another player that for a long time we are calling 3 players in midfield, then you call Amo and claim that he's a midfielder. You call this other person and claim that he's a midfielder. And we've had this guy that has been playing well for a long time. Honestly, I'm happy, or I think Naplimika is back. I'm happy that he finally got his call up, and hopefully he actually gets that start. One thing that I like about Onyedika, that if people don't watch him too often, they might not really realize, is it's not even about winning the ball back or anything like that. It's actually his ball distribution. I'm pretty sure, I have a feeling I know how his debut for Nigeria, real debut for Nigeria is going to go. First few minutes of the ball when he gets, he's going to be playing very, very safe passes. He'll be playing to the midfielder beside him. He'll turn around and play to his center back. And then by the 15th minute of the game, when he starts to feel more confident and more comfortable, when he has gotten into the rhythm, you'll see him start to actually get his head up and start to move the ball forward. Don't get me wrong, he's not a Kelechi Wakali, that is going to play some long ball and switch from left to right. But he also knows how to maybe play that first ball that allows his winger to get some space, on the flank, or allows his midfielder to be able to beat one other midfielder and be able to turn on the ball. That's one thing that even people from Belgium have been praising him for, because if you look at his statistics, and you look at the games that he's played since he moved to Club Brugge, most of his games, his passing is very, very accurate. Like I said, he always starts the game playing safe passes, but then eventually he starts to show his industry a little bit more. And then he's also a strong player on the ball. He can body anybody off the ball. So honestly, Onyedika is. I used to praise Frank Onyeka before he got caught up to the Super Eagles for the first time when he was at Midland. And when I started watching Raphael, after he took over from Onyeka at Midland, I started to see like, this guy, he's like the younger version of Onyeka, but he has more qualities that Onyeka does not even have, and it's like, if you can work on those qualities, like the person that I'm talking about, if you can work on those qualities and just improve, he's still a young player, he's 21, for crying out loud. By the time this guy plays, 3-4 years, I'm excited about him. Honestly, I'm very delighted, and I hope that, the thing is that there's always this chance that when you hype or you big up a player like this now, debut now, you're not gonna mess up. Everybody now say, Eagle Striker said that Onyedika is the future now, see what he's doing. But I really hope that, when people watch him play, he can do the same thing, and he can, because I believe that the guy can be the future of our midfield. Ndidi, we love him, we know he's one of the best midfielders in the world. But for whatever reason, injury is catching up with Ndidi a lot more often than we want right now. So, for us to have options again, like Alassane, we want him in the squad so that we can see what he can do. and Oyedika. Let's stop pretending that certain now Iwobi is a midfielder. I agree with them. But before, when he was playing right wing, they will call him as a midfielder. But let's stop forcing players into midfield, and let's hope that Onyedika, the new feature, can perform, and Gordon as well. Hopefully, I don't know if Gordon will start because they'll probably go Chukwueze and Simon. But no, Chukwueze is injured, so I keep forgetting.
So yeah, I hope Saviour starts. The cameo I saw of him from the game yesterday, it was really, really sharp. For those who've seen the clips, it was the guy who wore the number 10 jersey. There was one movie made from the right. I'm like, wow, okay. This guy is actually showing up that, hey, he's got this thing. And it took him very, very, very little moments to blend into the team because a couple of those players have also played with him during the junior ranks. So he's on Fizz, he knows Tawawoni, he knows Kelechi. So, it took him no time to blend into the team, and he's already feeling like a regular. And I'm happy that he's settled. The game he had yesterday wasn't bad. He's sharp, he can shoot, he can assist, he can run, he can dribble. He's got those twinkle toes. That's what you want from your winger, on a very good day. I hope that he seizes this opportunity to lay claim for himself. I'm also happy that Jose Pizarro is Portuguese, so he's probably paying close attention. Paying close attention to what is happening in Portugal. Must have known Saviour Godwin's trajectory from last season. Saviour actually also met up with him before the call-up came. So I was in Abuja at that time after the game against, what game did we have now? Saviour came around, met with the coach, they spoke. So it tells you that already the coach is looking beyond his immediate, crop of players, looking at bringing more players into the net, which is good to see. And once the opportunity comes, you should take it. We've got a lot of wingers. That's why I spoke about earlier. We should make the team very competitive. Nobody should feel too comfortable that if a 23-man list is going to be pulled out, some players feel, they know they will be in there. When it becomes a lot more competitive, when you are called up, you know that if you're not performing the next day or the next match squad, you are getting out. It makes that's the national team we grew up following, Ayo and Henry. Nobody has an assured jersey. And that's when you go out there, you are fighting tooth and nail, because if you know you put in the wrong foot, the next day or the next squad, you are going to the bench. I'm happy for Saviour. He's well deserving from last season, Casapia, till this season started well, and a good way to start off his national team career. Hopefully we'll see more of him on Tuesday.
I want to ask you guys a question here. Where is the room for Kelechi Iheanacho in the Super Eagles squad right now?
Yeah, that is the question. I wanted to say this. For me, if I'm the coach, I will not invite Kelechi in this game. We call it. I would invite him.
Right.
Rather, but Hassan Ruf, Onyedika, Alex Uwobi, Ojika is there. Let us try some experiment. Okay, take for instance, assuming that what is it called? Musa wasn't injured. What is it called? Indeed, he wasn't injured. Okay. Well, Chukwueze wasn't injured. Can we be able to know all these players? They are our first 11. Let us keep it. This is something to try new thing. We want to make Super Eagles to be a competition team that nobody is special. Yes, if Kelechi Iheanacho is not there, Onyedika can play his role. Rusuk can play in this role. The game move on. Saviour understand Awoni very well. I have watched them play in under 20, I think so. They can play the same thing. So if you are bringing Iheanacho in the game, we know that he's a senior man. He has been in the game for a long time. Give other people rooms. Whether can make Super Eagles to be a great team. That is what we're looking for. We are not going for any competition.
One of the biggest issues with Kelechi's career is the fact that he hasn't, he keeps being moved around different positions in the game. I do not think there are lots of coaches who know the best place or the best position to bring the best out of Kelechi. Kelechi is not a winger.
No, I'm saying
Kelechi is not an attacking midfielder. Kelechi is not a number 9. that boy thrives better playing as a second striker. If you want to see the best of Kelechi, play him as a second striker. Don't play him alone as a number 9. Don't play him from the wings. Let him have someone ahead of him. Then he has this ability to create, but it doesn't make him a creative midfielder. He likes to play close to the box. He can shoot. He can slot you in. He can break the line with those passes. But let him play close to another striker, and then he brings his best. Now, I'll take you guys back to the 2013 AFCON. There was one of the major reasons we won that game. Of course, a lot of things worked for us, but because we had a front line that suited the positions the players played in, Brown Ideye and Emmanuel Eminike. Late Steven Keshi knew who was going to be the number 9. Eminike was the number 9. Brown Ideye played as a support striker. Eminike was thriving because he had a second striker in Brown Ideye who was doing the work. Who they call them these days the workhorse number 9 or the number 9.5. There might not be so much of the goal scoring guys, but they get to score their goals. But they also thrive in having sharpshooters play closer to them. Okazaki and Vardy, for example, at Leicester when they won the league, it worked for them. Okazaki was the workhorse who was also feeding Vardy as much as the passes were coming from Mark O'Brighton and Riyad Mahrez and all of those guys. Kelechi doesn't thrive most or best from the wings or as an attacking midfielder or as a singular number 9. Play him as a second striker. You would get the best out of him. Maybe we'll begin to question how much he's been giving us in national team over the last couple of years, because at the end of the day, I would only say that as a forward, we'll judge you by the number of goals or the assists that you create. As a winger, as a number 9, whatever, we wouldn't want to look too much into other things. Some players might escape with that, like an Olivier Giroud for France. Went through the whole World Cup without scoring, but they'll still call him up. Because on the days where he's at his best, he would also score. But the truth is, at some point, we would have to start looking at or appraising Kelechi's contribution to the team. Why? Because there are other players who are getting the job done. There is an Okereke David somewhere getting the job done. There are other players who are rising, get the job done. So if you do not hold down your spots when you have the opportunity, you'd have to reassess your contribution to the team and say, hello, obrigado, goodbye, I'll see you later.
Let me ask this question.
I asked a question, right? What position does Onyedika play?
Rafael Onyedika is a DM, or at best a central midfielder if you want to push him forward. But when he sits as a DM, you find the best from Rafael Onyedika. He mops up, he brings play, and uses the ball very well. He thrives better as a DM. Ayo, I don't know if I'm right on that.
No, I agree with you. Rafael Onyedika is a player that wants to be deep on the ball. He wants to win the ball back and then help his team move the ball forward. Like I said, what I like about him is his industry when he's actually able to win the ball. He's not just a player that, like, an Ndidi, for example. Ndidi wins the ball and then passes it sideways to Yuri Tillemans. Whereas Onyedika has the ability to win the ball forward, look up, and rather than just giving the guy right beside him, if his winger is in a good position, he can play that pass to the winger. If he has somebody in a good position, sorry?
Smith Lai said that he's not a DM. Now, what about you? Because there's something I'm just trying to think.
Why can't I see comments?
Yeah, he said that he played boss to boss. Smith Lai said boss to boss.
So he does. So I will say
that's when he plays the central role. When he's a bit on the central role, he does the box-to-box thing, but primarily Onyedika thrives as a DM.
And at Club Brugge, he hasn't been playing much box-to-box at Club Brugge. He's playing more box-to-box at Michelin. At Club Brugge, if you watch the game, even when he moves forward, I'm not sure if they play with a natural number 10, but there's always somebody ahead of him, so he doesn't actually get as close to the box as he used to in Midland. So that's the reason why I would disagree. I mean, I wouldn't, maybe don't call him a DM because he's not like a ball winner like Ndidi.
Yes,
but he's most, I can't call him a deep line playmaker because he's not a playmaker. So maybe you just call him a central midfielder.
Central midfielder, maybe that works.
But can he play as a supporting striker?
Onyedika, supporting striker.
I'm asking.
No. That's too. Then you're asking too much attacking. You're asking for too much attacking ability from him. Somebody says Onyedika is an upgrade of Onyeka. I don't know completely. Sorry. is Onyeka better or worse than Onyedika at driving with the ball forward? Onyeka, I think, is pretty good with actually carrying the ball forward, which is something that is different because Onyedika will pass the ball forward, but Onyedika knows how to move with the ball. So even though they play the same positions, I don't think it's an exact comparison for you to say, oh, this guy is just an upgrade. Because I what they are doing on the pitch is fairly different.
Well, the only thing I will say is that it depends on what the kind of formation the coach wanted to play. For me, that would depend. But the best replacement for Ndidi, if Ndidi is no more, is Russo. That is for me as a DM. Because if Ndidi is not around, can Russo play his role? And Onyedika, I was even thinking that he's just a creative midfielder. That's my own thinking. So where we are having problem right now, here, that is where the issue is. Because that is the main engine. Because if our DM is very good, I think it will help the defenders to do their good job, and it also help the midfield to create chances for the strikers.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Ndidi out or have Ndidi as my DM. Alassane Yusuf would play as a central midfielder for me. We could have, depending on what a coach wants to do. But when you play with a double pivot, and then you want to give freedom to one to move, and then you want the other one to, be like a permanent shield for the back, I'll play Alassane. If Ndidi is out, I'll play Alassane Yusuf side by side with Frank with Rafael Onyedika. Onyedika will fit for me, while Alassane will be the box-to-box guy from the central midfield to go up the pitch and also, get to return. Both players are young. They are like the future. I've seen comments on Bonke. I like Bonke, but where I'm a bit concerned is Bonke gives fouls a bit too much. But yeah, it's someone you just want to keep around because he's playing at a very good level in the French League, but he's also had to take the national team. You want to have him around, but perhaps with him a bit more tidy, out of position in dangerous areas, because tricky players could use, their intelligence and win very good fouls in dangerous positions against your team, and you don't want that to happen. But it's good that we have the options.
Yeah. When we have these questions, I just always like to check. So I went to look up Rafael Onyedika. So this is his heat map for his last 5 matches. So it seems like he's beyond deeper than the halfway line most of the time. So I think it's fair to say, yeah, he's not an attacking midfielder for sure. So DM, CM, whatever you choose to call him. I mean, here they have him as a right CDM 66% of the time, central defensive midfielder 24% of the time, and left central defensive midfielder 10% of the time. So they have him listed as a DM, and contract is 2026.
Ayo, explain that Arusi DM.
I mean, so let me switch my camera back. Is basically just where he's getting touches of the ball. So it just means that, DM is basically you're behind the halfway line, and you're playing in that midfield. So they just mean that most of the time when he's getting the ball in that defense midfield position, he's on the right side of the pitch. It doesn't necessarily mean that, that's where he starts the game. But, obviously he's covering the entire midfield. So it means that he gets the ball on the right side of the pitch most of the time, then in the center, then on the left. And which makes sense. He's a right-footed player, so his natural instinct most of the time will want him to lean towards the right. And most football these days is not really played in the center of the park. So it's the other times that you come into the center to win the ball. And since he's not really using his left foot that much, he wouldn't necessarily want to go towards that side unless he has to. I'm just looking at some of his other statistics from this season. The only thing with Onyedika is that Onyedika is yellow card prone. He will get yellow cards. He has 7 yellow cards in 14 matches this season. So that's something to note. He's going to get yellow cards. But he's a pretty good player overall. He makes 4.6 tackles per game. 2.4 dribbles every match completed. So fairly good. I can't start showing you all the videos now, but Onyedika his analytics are pretty good. Let me see. Is there anything? Does anybody else want to come on? Let me see if
Yeah.
Yinka one. If you want to come on, you can still send a request and I'll bring you on. Somebody says yellow cards are normal for a DMF. No, and that's the thing. Like yellow card is very that judging yellow cards is very tricky because somebody like N'Golo Kante gets yellow card nearly every match. You know, literally nearly every match. But are you going to come and say he's not still one of the best defensive midfielders in the world? So it's just something to note that, you know, maybe okay, you might have to take him off in the 70th minute of certain matches because it might get too difficult. You know, it's just something to always be aware of. Let me see.
There's something I wanted to say, but I know it may be out of context, but it's something about the game between Brazil and Ghana. Sulemana, hello.
Suleiman is here.
My guy is here, yeah. The match against Brazil and Ghana. After watching that game, I was so angry. I said, well, I will not blame myself, rather I will blame Amaju. That is what I said. I was so angry, I was ashamed. These are the same team that play Nigeria and we drew 1-1. They now went and play Ghana and we drew. They